Hello, everybody. Adam Parks here with another episode of Receivables Roundtable. Today, I am here with Winder, who is on the Latitude by Genesys team. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Latitude as one of the most popular debt collection software platforms that are in our receivables management industry. You're also probably familiar with Genesys as well, which is contact center solutions. Ian, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Adam. Thanks.
Well, I'm glad that we got to get together for a conversation in a public forum. I know we get a chance to chat privately quite often, and I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about how technology has continued to evolve with the new regulations like Reg F. So before we kind of kick it off, let's just give everybody a little bit of background about yourself. Can you tell everybody a little about yourself and how you got to the seat that you're in today?
Sure. So it's kind of a roundabout story. Not originally from the US. I actually came to the States in 1980 for 2 weeks, and I haven't left yet. I came over with the oil and gas industry, which, for those of you old enough to remember, cratered in the mid 80s. So I left oil and gas engineering and started working in the collections and accounts recovery management environment. So started that in '86 and been with it ever since. Worked for multiple collection agencies and credit grantors, debt buyers in the space over the last 30 plus years. And about 10 years ago, I got the opportunity to join Latitude as a product manager. Prior to that, I'd been the consumer of the product, of different collection software products, and I decided it was a good time to parlay my experience over on the end user to the software companies themselves and bring my experience and background into that. Joined Latitude, like I say, a little over 10 years ago. Prior to that, there was no real product management, but we've been driving through the product management process and strategy, and how do we position and drive our software to meet our customers' needs generally, and not specifically customer by customer. So more strategic, if you like.
So your job is to basically listen to everybody's feedback, distill that, and come to the solutions that are best for your user base.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have within Latitude, very defined roadmap for product feature and functionality, but we understand the dynamics of the industry we're in. And so we have to maintain a level of agility in what our roadmap looks like. Things become pressing that weren't necessarily pressing 6 months ago, 12 months ago. But having a roadmap allows us to share with our customers and our prospects where the solution is going. And we drive that, both organically from things that we see as advantages to add to the software, but also engaging our customers and understanding what's critical for them from a success standpoint. Looking at how business and the industry as a whole is evolving, and parlaying that into our roadmap. So we can now tell our customers where we're going with the solution, the features and functionalities, when they can expect that capability, and so on. So.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like you guys are pretty organized over there, but it also seems like a really great transition as we talk about adjusting software to talk about Reg F. And I feel like it's a dirty word these days, right? Like we're all going through this massive transition, but none more critical than the transition that's happening at the collection software level, because if you don't have the data in place and you can't manipulate the data in place, how are you then supposed to meet some of these new requirements? So I can only imagine the struggles that you guys have gone through kind of putting that together. Can you tell us a little bit about, how it kind of prompted off and what you guys did at the very beginning of like, okay, we've got this new regulation coming out. Now what?
Yeah, so obviously, earth-shattering news in the collection, or earth-shattering in the collections industry. But we looked at it from the standpoint of we're not subject matter experts on the regs, right? And going through 650 pages and trying to cull out what's critical, what's important, and so on would be challenging for a technology company themselves. Sure. So, we leveraged a lot of the interactions that were taking place in the community and the conversations and discussions and webinars, keyed into those. We also engaged with some of our customers to talk about their understanding of how Reg F is going to impact the business. And we actually contracted with external consultants, people outside of the Genesys world, to help us navigate through what Reg F really means, and what we have to be able to provide our customer base to enable them to maintain compliance. As a vendor, I can't guarantee your compliance, but I can enable you to maintain your compliance components, right? So again, it was kind of a multi-part engagement, looking at it from where do we draw in the right information? How do we fully understand what the business needs to be able to manage within the system to maintain their compliance? So that was kind of, how we kind of approached it, the model we took around, identifying what we needed to do with the software.
Okay. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? And establishing that you're not the subject matter expertise, but finding the places to collect the information is really just such an incredible perspective for a software company, to recognize kind of the limitations, but also where you are set to enable the end users to achieve their compliance objectives, because you can't, as a software company, you can't force their compliance, but you can give them the workflow capabilities. You can give them the data sets and data sources that they're going to need to achieve their own end objective.
Yeah, and it gets a little bit more complicated too for us, as a software vendor, because we don't target just the third-party debt collection space. We work with debt buyers, we work with credit grantors, and so on. When you think about, how these regulations apply to those different segments of our space, it's different. So everything that we had to build, everything that we had to do has to be managed through configuration. Do I track validations? Do I track my phone attempts, my conversations, and so on? So it's not really just, build the Reg functionality and off you go. It's, what pieces do I need to turn on, turn off? Who's it applicable to? We also sell internationally where it's not even relevant at all. So we have to take all of that into consideration as a software provider, a solutions provider, to make sure, A, it meets our customers' needs. And for those who don't need it, they're not bound by it.
Okay. So as you went through the process of kind of engaging with the clients and evaluating what needed to be updated and changed, what were some of the bigger challenges that you faced, either from a technology perspective or from a customer perspective? Because I'm sure each customer has their own perspective on what that regulation says. So talk to me about some of the challenges that you guys faced as you went through the process.
I guess the biggest challenge is what everyone has a little heartburn with is challenges with is that 7 in 7 and 1 in 7 tracking all of, did I have a conversation? Which accounts did I discuss? If I've got multiple accounts, for the same debtor or customer, and how do I track that and manage that? Because, there's so many different ways that interaction can occur. Is it on a dialer? Is it manual dial? Am I just flagging it in the system that I had a conversation? And it's not really just capturing the fact that something took place, but that nuance around, if I've got multiple accounts, which ones did I discuss, right? So did I get express consent to call again? Does it apply to, all 7 of the accounts I have, or only 5 because they refused to discuss 2 of the accounts during that interaction? So building out, you can't just look at it from the reg that says, per debtor, 7 in 7, 1 in 7. When you parlay that across the multiple accounts and you look at, some of the industry segments that we service, you talk about, healthcare or whatever, where you have potentially hundreds of accounts related, for this individual, managing and tracking that, but doing it in a way that's, something that the frontline agent who's sitting there at the desk on the phone can easily manage that within the system. So the user experience piece of it, tracking that, making it readily available, and not just automatically doing something. Yes, we can drive some things automatically, if it's coming off a dialer result, for example. But what if it is a manual call? I've got to have other ways of doing things. So just the nuances around capturing what that interaction looked like, what the behavior was, what occurred. Other challenges, that's just the 7 and 7, right? But you talk about other items from the validation notice and tracking and managing against validation period. You look at itemization details that now have to be provided. So now maintaining a separate set of balances, if you like, within the system, because here's what the balance was at itemization date, but there's financial transactions that take place. So not only am I updating the balances on the account that I'm collecting on, but I have to maintain those itemization balances on top of that. So it's been interesting. I'll put it that way. And we think we've done a good job. So time will tell.
Yeah. Look, it's all fun and games till we deploy it to the clients, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And we try and capture it from the perspective of understanding the business need. When we build, right, we build based upon a story. Mm-hmm. So what is the story? What is the business challenge we're trying to solve? And then we look at, if I build something in the system to meet that business need, what is my measure of success? What's my goal, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't build things necessarily just from an IT technology perspective of I need a button here that does this, I need a button there. We talk about what the business challenge is. So that's really helped us in building, the functionality that we've done for Reg F, is because we look at it from the customer's perspective, not from a technology company's perspective, if that makes sense.
Absolutely makes sense. You mean you look through the eyes of the end user and try and, see things from their perspective and not just as, your actual seat, which is providing them with the software solution and service that they need. Makes a lot of sense because understanding what the customer is experiencing, what they're going through, what their challenges and needs are, is the recipe for good software, right? Like we all have to have some sort of engagement at that level for it to, for any end product to make sense.
Right. I mean, I can come up with a technology solution, but it's unusable in the business, right? Yep. So we look at it from the consumer of the product standpoint of, here's the business challenge, here's the problem we're trying to solve for our customers, and how do we give them the best technology solution to achieve that goal that they have to have. So yeah.
Well, and you've got a lot of industry leaders that are on the Latitude platform. I mean, I know a lot of the groups that I've worked with in the past have been using, the Latitude software. And with that being said, that means that I know that you're getting compliance information advice, business operations advice from some of the top players in the industry, which I'm sure are pretty active. Do you guys have any kind of a formal structure for collecting and soliciting feedback from your clients?
Yeah, we actually have at Latitude, we have a customer advisory board where we invite, customers who are leaders in their particular segment, be it medical, telecom, banking, and so on. And we hold quarterly meetings with our advisory board to solicit their feedback on what they're seeing is happening in the industry that we need to be prepared for. But we also use them as a sounding board. When we talk about we're proposing a solution, we don't just go and build and deploy and then try and figure out, did it meet the need? We engage with them and say, this is what we're planning on doing. What do you think? And we solicit their feedback when we're early in the stage from a development perspective, so that we can really ensure that what we deliver at the end of the day is going to meet the customer's needs, right? So yeah, we definitely actively engage with our customer base in soliciting their feedback on both the industry and their feedback on our roadmap and our designs for solutions. So.
Well, it sounds like you guys have put a lot of work into your Reg F solution. I look forward to kind of seeing this thing in action. And, at some point we'll have to do a follow-up discussion and talk about, after collecting this information and getting to this point, how did we, achieve and move forward, and what have our clients been able to accomplish at that point? And that's always fun to follow up on these conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be quite interesting. I think the next couple of months are going to be fun. Let's put it that way.
It's fun for those of us that love what we do, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely enjoy this part of it. So it's very good.
So for those of you that are watching, if you have any questions for Ian or myself, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll be tagging both Ian and myself on LinkedIn and YouTube as this goes live, so that we'll be in a position to respond to your comments. If you have any additional topics that you'd like to see us discuss, or guests that you'd like to see me interview, feel free to leave those comments below as well. Ian, I know I'll see you at the RMAI annual conference in a couple of months. Really looking forward to that.
Yep, same, Adam. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to hopefully doing another one of these sessions here in the not too distant future.
Yeah, we will definitely do a follow-up discussion, but I am really looking forward to seeing you at RMA. But until next time, Ian, thank you so much for taking the time to participate with me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Anytime.